Gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to our continued coverage of SPL relegations. We're in week 2 now, Kevin, and we're going to see another 2 teams attempt to push themselves on for week 3.
Last week, the leftovers ended up taking it all over Epiphany Bolt, and they'll be facing off against the Challenger Cup teams next week. But today, like Hindu said, we're going to be finding one more squad to come out on top, and we're going to be starting, once again, like we did last week, with the Papis, a team that have been on the verge, honestly, of SPL for now a year straight.
Over and over again, this Spanish team, they're all Spanish members for the most part. They've brought in the odd member change, but the core roster is still there overall. We're going to be joining them in the round of 16 up against Team Illusion, which we don't know too much about.
No, and that's the thing about these open bracket teams and the relegations. There's a lot of teams that just come out and really surprise you. Squirtle Squad from North America and Epiphany Bolt last week as well from Europe. These are teams who with maybe a couple recognized player names, but for them to do so well bodes a lot to kind of that Challenger Cup to bottom SPL scene. That there's a lot of players that could break through the mold finally and find themselves into the top level competitive play this year.
EU this year is very, very close between all the teams.
Yes.
I think in the run-up to trying to get in there. We're still not sure how it's going to work out of who's going to get into SPL. At the moment, though, whoever wins this will move on to week 3 and look to fight for a spot against the teams from the Challenger Cup that did so well, including Torpedo Gaming, which everybody's been talking about this year.
I mean, apparently they've been winning a lot of scrims as well in private. I don't believe Epsilon or Paradigm have really started scrimming yet. They're kind of the only 2 teams remaining.
Maybe they have been, but
maybe
knows.
now. But it's early on they did. They were the only 2 teams out of the 16 SPL teams that did not make any major roster changes. I think they both lost their coaches, but nothing too serious.
Well, we're going to go into picks and bans now between Team Illusion and the Papis. Before we do, remember Amaterasu is still banned at the moment for this tournament alongside Sol.
Yes, a bug with Sol that the team is working on fixing on and should actually mix up the picks and bans as well, because Sol was banned quite often the past 2 weeks, or first picked.
Well, it should mean that Ravana definitely gets banned every single time. We saw it slip through multiple times in EU.
Slip through is definitely the word to use, because Ravana right now, especially in the soul lane, we've seen him be effective in the jungle, but it's the soul lane for me. He just controls.
We did not see him effective in the jungle, if I'm honest.
Basically every single
game was when he played jungle. So Kefri banned, Giannis banned, Kwon banned by the Papis, and the final ban is over to them. More than likely, No, it's going to be Athena.
I mean, with the change to the relic system, Athena's so strong right now. Probably the best support at forcing out
stronger than Ravana, Kevin?
No, not stronger than Ravana, but Illusion, they're going to pick that up. It appears the Papis aren't too worried about it.
Well, they must have some sort of thing to deal with this over in the solo lane. What would you match up against this Ravana if you're going to be playing solo?
I mean, you could always just go like a Bologna, right? Bologna's always going to be useful in a team fight, a very strong all-around frontline warrior. But they're going to go Isis, looking for a little bit of pressure in the mid lane.
You mentioned talk about all-round. Isis brings that to the table from the mid lane all the time. Silent, CC, decent damage, good wave clear early on. Isis is one of the go-to mid laners at the moment, especially with Dumo.
And Geb as well picked up for the Papis. This the support who's kind of been at the top and will drop a little bit now, one of the strongest supports in the game. With an active cleanse and, purification on 160 seconds, you can't go wrong with Geb in this meta.
Surprised we've seen Hou Yi picked up before Chiron here. Chiron's still not been picked up yet by either team. And with Thor locked in, it's back to the Papis where I expect we should see Chiron here.
I would imagine so. You don't want to get banned out, especially now that there's 2 bans in the second banning phase. Team Illusion could look to not only ban out Chiron, but also ban out Neath. And really, Hou Yi's going to have a very strong time in lane in that regard, where he has no push to worry about. But Papis recognize this, and they're going to pick up the Chiron. And the question here is, who are they going to target ban out, right? Do they want to take out enemy mids? I would have to say they're looking for mid bans.
Mids are supports who are available here. They've gone with Odin, which is a very supportive god here. You're not necessarily going to see him too much in mid lane. Very good matchup against Isis as well for trying to shut her down in team fights. But Team Illusion, they can be focusing on jungle bans here, or even solo to allow Ravana to get even further ahead.
They're going to ban away Hell, actually, so Illusions. I'm assuming that's a knock at the soul lane. We haven't seen too much Hell this season. It was talked about that maybe she would make a comeback, but so far that hasn't been the case. And there's the Agni taken away from Papis. They don't want that counter matchup in the mid lane.
Well, clearly that's what the whole plan for Papis' caravan phase there was, protect Isis. Agni a good matchup, Odin a good matchup against Isis. Let's stop Illusion from having anything to deal with this. Meanwhile, Illusion, they don't want to deal with any sort of sustain.
And you can see the Papis already have a pretty sustaining comp, right? The Isis circle protection heals your team. Chiron has a lot of self-heals in his kit. Geb has the shield, which immune to a lot of damage. Not a lot of healing, but it's a lot of extended engagements benefit the Papis squad squad right now, so make sure they can't get those gods that make it even more extended engagements.
Batz locked in for the Papis. Not a surprise to see that jungler come back once again. Batz been around for a long time, and he's a very safe go-to pick.
You know, this is an awkward timing team for the Papis, right? You have the Isis, which puts out a lot of pressure, same with Chiron, but the Batz and the Geb, they take a little bit longer. Right now, the Papis, their 4-man squad is looking very much like a mid-game team that wants to force a lot of early Gold Furies.
He's locked in for Illusion now. They're looking for the final pick, which should be a mid laner here. Plenty of options available for them, but where do you expect to see them go?
Poseidon's always a safe pick, especially against Isis, who can't get Purification and Sanctuary at the same time, but they're going to like to go Scylla, also a very strong god in this meta. And Team Illusion, I mean, right now, they're screaming late game, but they also have the Ravana and the Thor to get them through that early game pressure as well.
And if they can burn beads with Thor ultimates, then Ares can come in with no escapes, which will set Scylla up lovely for I'm a Monster.
I love Illusion's lineup right now, and I think the Papis, they're going to draft a tier. So, okay, that's a god that now with the recent change to his power cleave can put out a lot of pressure in the lane early. Maybe not the best matchup against Raven, you know, in lane, but can do a lot of backline zoning. And these are honestly two frontliners that I think we're going to be seeing a lot in Season 3 is, you know, the tier's going to be looking to zone out the Scylla and probably the Hou Yi, and Raven going to be looking to lock down the Isis and the Batz.
Very, very similar competitions between these two teams here. As we go into the game now, and we're going to be tuning alongside Samsaa in the mid lane playing this Scylla. Scylla, seen a lot more of it this season. Why? Is it because of the fact that mobs online?
Scylla is actually the most buff god this season.
Why?
And she received not a single change. And this is why. Because, first of all, with the relic system change, beads aren't every 90 seconds. So any god that has a stun instantly gets buffed, just based on how the game's going to play out. Scylla
doesn't have a stun.
Doesn't have a stun, but she has a hard CC root cripple that hits up to 3 players. She has probably the best CC of any mage in that regard. Also, mages in general got buffed because of the reintroduction of Doom Orb and now Spear of Desolation, right? So a ton of magical power on these gods, right? And now Scylla gets even more buffed because her entire team fight is about one-shotting a player, it's about finishing them off. So now she has a greater chance because of all these magical power items to get that reset on I'm a Monster. And also she has an escape on a mage, which mages are a lot less safe now because they can't get all these defensive actives. Very,
very true. So Samsaa's in a pretty good spot on this Scylla at the beginning of the game.
Scylla's OP. She's gonna be first picked. I guarantee. By the middle of the split, she will be first picked.
Well, we start the season anyway, and you can see the beginning of these sort of decision making about what camps get done at the beginning of the game. Look at what happened here. The Papis did the left-hand Harpies, the right-hand Harpies were done by the jungler and the solo laner for Team Illusion at the same time. Both the junglers also went power pot this game. So we're not seeing the boots anymore.
They definitely want the early pressure, and I like it from both, right? The Batz is going it because they have kind of this early mid-game team comp where they want to force a lot of things. Thor wants to do it because he has a late-game comp, right? He wants to make sure he can match up against this Isis Batz for the first 15 minutes, allowing his Scylla and Raven to get farmed.
And the big key is sharing this first mid-wave that comes in between the mid laner and the jungler to make sure you've got good clip. Right-hand side, good pressure onto Warchi early, coming out from Xata there.
Warchi needs to be a little bit careful. Raven has a lot of kill potential, especially early on when players don't have full mobility. He has a root and slow, and the slow is on a 6-second cooldown. So if you get caught in a bad spot, you could take the first death of the game.
Yeah, early on, good poke pressure onto Warchi once again, who actually fearlesses that wave there. Still only level 2, so doesn't have any sustain just yet.
He can't power cleave the wave, unfortunately, here.
Just being zoned away at the moment by Xata, which I like. Meanwhile, in the jungle, you can see the rotation from both the Papis here towards those imps in the Fire Giant pit, as Thor and Scylla also do their back Harpies.
And these aren't worth that much, but if you have nothing else on the map, they're smart to pick up. The boars from both solo laners haven't been taken yet. I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen the junglers rotate over there and try and secure that, but it looks like not too much pressure in the mid lane. And the Papis, while they do want to force fights early and mid, they can't really do that until Batz is 5. He just doesn't have the damage output that he needs. Once he gets that Fear No Evil online, he really opens up the map.
No real talk about the duo lane just yet, but Ares and that Hou Yi should have an easy time of pushing this in a little bit, just because Geb's going to play very safe against Ares.
Yeah, this is the fear potential. So the Chiron has the superior push compared to the Hou Yi, but if Geb or Chiron get in a awkward spot and Ares can find a chain, it could very easily be first blood.
Good pressure there with those chains being put out as well, with that minion wave still not fully deleted, so they didn't get as much pressure in that lane as they would have liked to as we tune back in with the solo. And Xata still having a whale of a time in this Raven that got through picks and bans.
Yeah, you can see he has 3 multi-potions, 1 health potion, while Warchi has nothing left. He has been getting so out-pressured, and he's level 4 now, but he needs to be careful. Xata does have his ultimate online, Mystic Rush, and he did elect to go into it, so he might be looking to find a kill, but now that Warchi can sustain, it's going to be a lot safer for him.
Yeah, Warchi now level 5 as well, so has that Lawbringer in case he gets into trouble there. So we tune back into the duo lane once again. We've got a rotation coming out of Isis here, and Batz looking to try and put pressure onto Ares, who's a little bit out of position. Big ultimate coming out here as well.
Blown up, and that's going to be Ares picked up for first blood. It's going to be Perilla who actually finds that, and you know, we saw this duo lane from Team Illusion pushed up very far for quite some time, but you have to be aware of the rotations. And speaking of rotations,
no, we're not going to see anything come out of Kazpu there. Missed his ult, missed his
missed
wall.
everything.
Warchi in a good spot, left hand side once again though. Kirk under pressure, Fear No Evil comes out, did not respect the fact the monkey had the ultimate, and he pays with his life. The Papis up 2-0.
That's one of the most important things about ganking, right? Is the ability to save team fighting ultimates, or just ultimates in general. Right hand side, Harpies, not going to be stolen away. Scylla and Thor will secure that, but the Hunbats, they're able to pick up the Ares without using the Hunbat Salt, which is not something you see too often. If a jungler ganks, a lot of times you want to see them, or you expect them to have used their ultimates, and if they're able to hold it, they can open up a lot more opportunities when teams start to rotate back in or feel a little bit safer.
Well, we actually see a bit of an opportunity for the Papis as well over in the duo lane once again. Perilla on this Chiron got the Transcendence online because of those first 2 kills, and now he's going to be able to start stacking and get a big power spike over Hou Yi, who looks like he's going for Devourer's Gauntlets here.
That's interesting, but it will help him sustain and take a little bit of poke early, especially matched up against the Chiron, who has sustain in his kit with his passive. And look at this, Ares, level 5. Has Blink online, and that's something to note too. This Ares did elect to go into Blink, which means if he continues to get picked off, he's not going to be able to pick up a defensive relic until level 12.
Well, there is 3 purification online. Hunbats, Isis, and Chiron all have it, so he won't be able to find a definite pull guaranteed in, unless we can see Thor try and impact it beforehand with a good ultimate. Good gank against Isis potentially for Thor.
And he does have the Scylla to combo with them, and Thor has a lot of setup for the Scylla, and that's one thing I really like about the Thor pick when you go Scylla is Scylla, if you just try and freehand her ult, it's not going to be there. The mid lane though,
force the ult on Geb, and actually gets hit by that. The ultimate wasn't timed properly, so the CC immunity ended up cancelling. He got pulled in.
Yeah, he tried. Right hand side though, Hunbats, Fear No Evil, but that is going to be pushed into the tower. He'll be able to walk out of that one.
Just not the right position really to try and force him away from going back into the tower range there.
Well, it was actually the overhead kick. So I'm pretty sure Hunbats placed that ultimate in a good spot to actually push the Robin back, but the overhead kick actually got Robin over that middle part of the Fear No Evil and onto the side that pushed him towards the tower.
Right hand side, you see the Papis grouping up for those imps at the moment as we tune in with Hou Yi, continuing to try and get those Devourer's Gauntlets online. So far though, Illusion haven't really managed to find anything. I think we're more surprised that Geb got pulled in there than anything, otherwise they could have potentially found a kill.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate mistiming from the Geb. You could see he tried to get the small sliver of CC immunity when he popped the Cataclysm, but not going to be in time. He walks out of that one still though, so it's fine.
Left-hand side, Thor. Yeah, Thor's hovering around here.
Is he in the air?
He is in the air indeed, but they will recognize he was sat
right
on
a ward. Yep. He literally ulted directly on a ward. And now...
Well, he recognizes it now. He had the sentry in his inventory, so he could have dropped that first just to check before he went out. Red buff going to be taken though by Samsaa and the Ares as well, just soaking up the experience as we can. Let's check in with the experience in gold now, just to see how things are going. You see, it's starting to develop into a bit more of a lead for the Papis here. Those first 2 kills are making an impact.
Yeah, but the thing is, they need to expand this lead. Like I said, Illusion heading into late game are going to be so much stronger than the Papis. The Papis have this early to mid game comp that really needs to start to come online. I want to see forced gold Furies. I want to see a lot of pressure on this dual lane more than likely. Allow the Chiron to get ahead. Allow the Geb to get the defensive item he needs to help better his team's team fight. But so far, it's kind of been like, all right, we're going to gank at like 3 minutes and then just poke.
Well, Kazpu going to rotate around to the solo lane here. Soak some experience. Was looking for an opportunity on tier, but not an easy target to really gank.
No, solo laners in general are very hard to gank. Thor, probably one of the better ones at doing it because he can wall off the opponent and extend the engagement, but both of these solo laners have sustain in their kits, so it's very hard. Nice bounce shot, going to stun out the Chiron, but Hou Yi, he is stacking now. 0 stacks to his name so far, though.
Talk about stacks, though. Doom mobs in the mid lane are online for both Isis and the Scylla. Scylla a little bit further ahead at 16 stacks. Meanwhile, Isis, even though she's made good rotations, she's a little bit behind because she's missed some of that farm.
And she is about 100 gold ahead, but look at this. A nice wall and a blink in. Ares going to find 2.
Purification only used by Isis there. Nothing from Batz, who didn't decide to use them at all. Kazpu is in the air on the Thor, though. Is he going to come down onto Dheylo?
He would have already done it, right? While the chain was still activated, that was the time, and that's a split-second decision your jungler needs to make. Thor chose not to. I like the aggression from Ares, though. I believe he got both purification sets from those players, or at least the ones from Isis. And left-hand side, Chiron got him his all his snipes, but has a 2-level lead already.
Oh,
masterful shot.
He's got enough to secure the kill.
Kirko?
Purification went down to Ares, though, going to come around the back, trying to look for the pick up in response here onto Chiron. Chain connects, 1, 2. Is the third one going to hit as well? Yeah, it is. And with Thor there as well, they will trade it back. 3-1 is the scoreline now. Papis still in the lead, but the signs for Illusion to get themselves on the board there. It did go over to Thor.
That was a very important kill, right? The Chiron picks up his second kill of the match and had a 3-level lead on Kirko. And if that extended, it would have been bad. Shutting him down, making sure he can't extend that lead by getting extra farm before he backs was very important for Illusion.
Sad thing is there as well for Kirko on that Hou Yi. He came back with Devour's Gauntlets, didn't even get a stack online before he died again.
That's the roughest. And that's the power of Chiron in the lane, right? You can't give him up, right? If you don't want to run Chiron, I feel like you have to ban him because he has so much pressure. Neath was on the board as well, someone that can match Chiron's lane pressure, but if he gets a small lead, he can make it a giant lead, and that's what Perilla has done so far.
Well, early on, Xata had a pretty easy time in this lane up against Warchi, just continuing to poke and farm him down, but he's not really managed to extend any sort of lead here. It's actually Warchi who has a gold lead here, but Thor is here in time with a Lord, bring a good ultimate in from Xata, chasing down with the overhand kick. Jukes back with the Fearless as Warchi gets a good heal off the minions. Still Xata tanking the tower, not going to find the kill.
I mean, Warchi could have killed Xata if he just had a little bit more mana to chain that Fearless, but a good job from him. Not trying to run away, he actually jukes back into his tower, heals up off the minions. It was just such a clean defensive play from Warchi that he could have turned.
He didn't look scared at all. Even though he ultimated away, he still realized the presence of mind to be able to go back out, heal off those minions and get a big heal up.
I love what Perilla is doing, putting the pressure on Hou Yi, but his team also has a lot of wards for any rotations. The second he saw the Ares rotate over, he just backed off, relieved the pressure. Now Ares has to rotate back, puts the pressure back on Hou Yi. And honestly, this Ares is losing a lot of farm, but still looking to be aggressive.
Big no escape. There's a Cataclysm. The Iron Monster connects as well. And Ares ends up getting the kill onto Isis. Geb surrounded now. Doesn't have an ultimate to escape. Double kill to Ares. Not the prime target they would have liked, but they're not going to be too upset by that.
Yeah, the Ares is actually 2 levels above his Hou Yi. And now, with 2 players dead and Batz, he has his Fear No Evil, but I don't know if he's going to be able to defend this Gold Fury. And actually, it looked like Illusion were trying to gank Perilla, but he backed at the edge of the tower, unfortunately, and now they're not even going to be able to get the Gold Fury.
Little bit of pressure here, going to sustain a little bit with that root, but that full minion wave still hitting him with those archers, and Warchi feels like he can smell blood here, going to go into the tower. Good ultimate from him, but the Fearless was well timed from Warchi. Think he's going to die though, the last tower shot? No! He survived.
Just barely gets out. Warchi now controlling this solo lane. He was so pressured out early, but now finds himself with a 500 gold lead, and good timing from him. Now, the gold, though, it's about 1,000 difference in favor of the Papis, but like I said, I really want to start to see them force stuff. I want to see them get this Gold Fury. I want them to take Warchi out of that solo lane, make him rotate and find impactful team kills.
Warchi's done a very good job in that lane. Being ganked a little bit more often than we've seen Xata being pressured here. Put under pressure by the Ravana early, but they seem to have found a way to deal with Ravana so far in this game. They've not given up too much against him. How will he impact the fight? So when it comes to the whole team is going to be the big question.
And Tier seems to be the matchup that most solo laners are going to if Ravana's allowed on the other hand side. So honestly, if you're first pick, we may start to see some Tiers banned away, forcing the opponent to ban Ravana or give you a very strong laner who isn't matched by many.
Well, for 11 minutes in now, you can see that Illusion managed to climb themselves back a little bit. That big play in the mid lane where they picked up 2 kills has just sort of evened the tide a little bit and stopped the escalation of Papis getting this huge lead that they were starting to develop.
This Ares, level 11, is a monster right now. He's gone into tank boots and then into sovereignty. An item we haven't seen picked up too much, but still a very strong aura for your team. And I want to see Illusion use this Ares. The Ares is ahead, right? Yep. He's further ahead than a lot of the Papis carries. You might as well make him or allow him to make plays, and that's what he's done so far. Left-hand side.
One of the first ones to die as well. Went for the reinforced boots for safety. More often than not. The sovereignty, though, being picked up, don't forget it is an aura. That's one of the reasons I think he's gone for this. Instead of the more traditional builds that we're starting to see out of the Guardians now with more Hide of the Urchins potentially. But talking about that, we see the Gebs also going the same route.
Yeah, a little bit surprising. That actually could be a mid-guardian nail he likes to go into, especially against a Hou Yi, Thor, Robin, and Mystic
Lawbringer.
Rush out. Lawbringer over the top, and
Good route.
Xata.
Gets it. It was well played overall by Xata there. Using the ult, but meanwhile in the mid lane, no escape gets popped, but Purification, I'm a monster. Do not connect.
You know, I like that. I like that the Scylla ulted in place regardless, right? There is a small window if you're a Scylla, if you wait to try and see if they get pulled, that the opponents can react with a post-purification or an immediate jump out. So she just ults in place, trusting the team. But now she knows that all those relics are down, and she has an opportunity come on when it comes off the wall.
No escape being down. Ares being pressured here as Batz jumps in as well. Fear no evil, and then a Spirit Ball comes out. Wing Gust around the back as well is still Kirko trying to support Ares, who's so tanky.
I mean, this is what happens when a support gets ahead, and Chiron over the wall finds the second shot. Third one connects. Masterful shot should secure that. Nice job by Perilla. Spirit Ball gonna stun out one, and Scylla getting pressured out. Wingust not gonna be enough to connect.
Thor is in the air right now, gonna dunk down, not actually find the hit onto Isis, and now he's in a bit of an awkward position. Wall double tap does not connect, but the Berserker Barrage does decent damage, and he escapes with his life. So it's a 1-for-0 trade. Ares does fall.
Circle Protection still available for the Papis if they want to go for this Gold Fury, but they don't want to risk it. You could see Xata, he's rotated, or Xata has rotated over. I don't think Isis knows this is coming.
Well, they do now as the wall comes out as well. The root does connect onto Isis, but a good shield coming out once again from Geb. We're starting to see a lot more Gebs this season,
So
maxing the shield.
It's the cleanse. I mean, it's the cleanse, the fact that, you know, relics you can't get to until level 12, and the purification's on 160 seconds. Cleanse is so good
I think
against
it's also
high
the
CC
the
comps.
size of the shield. But anyway, Gold Fury been started up by Illusion there. Blinking from Warchi. Good Fearless Chain. Batz comes over the top and secures a kill. Dheylo gets credit for that one. The Gold Fury goes to be Illusion though as Warchi picks up a second kill for his team. And they're looking for Xata on the back as well, who will fall to Dheylo for a double. Fear no evil goes on as well. And now Kirko's in trouble.
I mean, this Ares is just zoning out 3. Dheylo picks up a triple kill, and now Warchi turning onto the Ares. It's 4 alive for the Papis. There's the slow. It's only a matter of time. Honestly, might be able to turn this. The flames are ticking. And that's the 3rd kill in that team fight for Alistair, or 2nd, excuse me. But still, it's the Papis. They lose the Gold Fury, but they find 5 kills, and now they're charging up the middle lane. This tower, not going to be able to be defended.
And you can still see that even though the Gold Fury went down, they still hold their gold lead. They're going to be able to develop it back again with the tier 1 tower in the mid lane and a 4,000 experience point lead.
We saw in the backline Alistair actually fighting 2 players. I believe it was the Chiron and the Isis, just completely zoning them out. And the Papis still win the fight. And now this Ares, it was very good that it got the farm early, but now you could see it's starting to suffer. The Hou Yi is not as impactful in this team fight as he needs to be. Only just got boots online compared to the Chiron, who has his 50 stacks, who has his boots, and who had Aussie that team fight as well.
And that all really escalated. That whole fight escalated when Chiron, so when Ares stuck around originally after being ganked, the fight continued to pressure with the solo and is then rotating in. And the rotation ended up working out very, very well for the Papis because Warchi, look how much pressure he got on that solo lane tower and still made an impact on that team
That's one of the things too, is that Warchi actually, he blinks in while Illusion's doing the Gold Fury, and he found 3 in the Fearless, and it wasn't really about displacing them off the Gold Fury. It's the fact that he did so much poke damage. He's level 16 now. I believe he had a 2 or 3 level lead in there, and honestly, he took the Scylla from full to half-life, and another player as well, and then the, Illusion, they were 5 strong, but a lot of them were poked out, and because they don't have the farm, because a lot of their kills were on top of Ares, they couldn't match the damage output of the Papis.
Well, 2 players still waiting to get their second relic here. Hou Yi has it available for himself, as does Geb, which will probably be towards a shell, I expect, with the Geb as this game continues. And at the moment, we can see mid laner builds as Xata under pressure on this right-hand side here. He's not got much of a tower to go back to. That's a good slow coming out from him, but how long can he survive? Overhead kick used, Lawbringer as well. They're still continuing the chase, but they give it up in the end.
You can see Dheylo really wanted to hold his ult there. He wanted to make sure that the Robin was going to be low enough that he could burst him before he got Mystic Rush off, but not going to happen. Now Ares has taken a trip over to this right-hand side. But look at this. I mean, Warchi right now, level 17 compared to this Ares 13.
Dheylo gets hit by a double tap, just retreats back to his tower for now as Xata continues to push up this wave with Geb now rotating in as well at level 12. I don't think we'll see much more action on this solo lane as the mid laners were even looking here too.
Yeah, this is the 4-on-4 from both teams, and these little fire elementals, they'll be picked up by Xata. And now neither team wants to force the engagement. Actually, Warchi on the right-hand side is going to find Xata, just get a little bit of poke off, reset the team fight, and I don't think this Thor is going to be able to do much.
Doing pretty good pressure there is Warchi at the moment. Got his Hide of the Urchin online as well. Working towards some penetration to go alongside that. Very, very tanky.
I mean, it's going to be so hard to kill this tier, right? He doesn't have a lot of health right now. He has picked up the Urchin. Got a couple of stacks on that, I believe, since the last engagement. And he has Breastplate. And Breastplate, especially against this Thor Robin, so effective. You don't have the health, but you have a ton of physical protections, and you also have cooldown reduction, which means you're able to get that power cleave off more, find yourself sustained, especially if you're fighting in lane where creeps are coming.
We're checking with the mid laners here at the moment. You can see both of them have the Doom Mob fully stacked at the moment. However, Scylla, Samsaa gone for the Book of Thoth here, over going for extra penetration.
I like this. I still think Illusion has the late game, but it looks like the Hou Yi's in an
fight.
awkward
It's a man fight that I don't think it's going to go very well for either of these two. Keep an eye on the rotations coming in from both sides of the map at the moment as both Illusion try to collapse, as does Geb with a Blink ultimate as well, but in the air is Thor. Will he come down?
I don't know if he wants to. You can see the Chiron used his ult, and he will come down onto the Chiron. Geb shield though finds its way immediately, and honestly, he's just kind of staying around looking for poke, and I think it's going to be a disengage from both squads, as this 4-man death squad seems to be rotating between both of the side lanes, right? And just the side lanes will just stay there in their own lanes for now.
Kazpu on this Thor, I've not really seen him land an ultimate, like connect with it. He's gone into some of these fights, but he's still not managed to make an impact with it.
Yeah, we saw him whiff on both early gank attempts, I think, and a lot of that also is onto the Papis reading the ultimates very well. They recognize when they're coming. They've had fantastic ward coverage so far this match. Speaking of ward coverage, though, it looks like Team Illusion are a little bit too heavy-handed on the wards. They actually have, I believe, 3 or 4 sentry wards kind of on that bottom side next to the Gold Fury. One just disappeared, though, but investing a lot of gold into keeping their own jungle safe, even though we haven't seen the Papis pressure into their jungle at all.
Well, mentioning that, you can see the blue buff
I thought
being
he was gonna steal
stolen. Sorry, attemptedly stolen away there, I should say, by Warchi and TheAlexMC, but they don't actually find it with the Spirit Ball over the wall. They will just retreat
nice
back
try.
to
Overhead kick, but in the meantime, the middle lane, there's the combo we've been waiting for. Half-life on both players, double tap connects, and it's going to be another kill for this Thor, another kill right now for this Ares, and it just,
beautiful synergy. Beautiful synergy. The wall came down exactly when they needed it to put the pressure on. In the jungle, though, we're going to see Hou Yi going aggressive on Chiron. Purification down. Good ultimate coming out, but the immunity still working for the sprint that was popped for himself there as well. Kirko gets the kill as Thor dunks in. They don't find Isis, though.
That pressure from Illusion was perfect, and now they have a chance to either go for the Gold Fury or poke out someone in the mid lane, and it looks like it's going to be gold. They're going to play the safe card, and it's going to be Xata on the zoning duty, not allowing Warchi to get in at all.
Gets a good route off as well. There's a change to keep this tier pin down as well. Good crush damage. Lawbringer used defensively. That is a free goal for you for Team Illusion, and it should give them the gold lead in this game.
No way Warchi's going to be able to get into this one, and just a fantastic turn of events in the past 2 minutes. So what happens there is, first of all, the Ares, who has been so aggressive all games, continues to put on the pressure, and they find a perfect combo with Scylla. And what I liked about that the most is that the Scylla didn't look for the reset, which a lot of players make the mistake of doing. He just wanted to get out as much damage as possible. Immediately follows up with a double tap from the Thor on both players, spins in Berserker's Barrage. And then they take their 3-man squad and they rotate over to the dual lane, picking off the Chiron, and because now they've opened the map, they get a free uncontested Gold Fury after Xata zoned out the Ares. Excuse me, the tier.
Good little Spirit Ball in mid lane there by AlexMC. Onto Samsaa, forcing him back. With the tier 1 tower down being in the middle lane, there's not a whole lot Illusion can do against that, but they're doing a good job, Illusion, here. They've been up against it for the most part of the game. You can see that just in KD at the moment in this game. But the big difference is the fact that they've lost 2 towers and they still have a gold lead.
Yep, they do.
Gold
950 gold for now. And they've also picked up both Gold Furies, too, which is a lot of it, because the Papis were superior in the pressure early game, as they should be with this comp. But now that we're coming into 20 minutes, players are starting to get close to level 20, starting to have more complete and rounded builds. It's going to be very hard for the Papis to fight into this. The Scylla and the Robin specifically are going to be doing too much damage, and now Hou Yi doesn't have to worry about the lane pressure that the Chiron put out early.
You mentioned the Scylla there. She's got Void Stone fully completed online, as we see Dheylo going aggressive on Xata here, returning some damage back. Xata's still not scared to walk away. He's keeping an eye on what's going on here, looking to be a bit cheeky and try and steal on him, but he won't get one just there. A little bit less experience for him now.
Look at these wards for Team Illusion. There's 5 sentry wards on the left-hand side of the map. And Kazpu's going to take this time to go land on Chiron. There's the stun and the hammer with the Suns on top. That's going to be a secure kill. The question is, who got the last hit? That was Kirko.
About time. Kazpu got a nice clean ultimate off there. Perfectly timed. They can pressure the left-hand side. His mid lane. Dheylo gets a Fear No Evil off onto Altstein on the air. His overhand smash comes out, but he's so tanky. He's still alive. I'm a monster hits, but a good Geb's shield saves Dheylo from too much pressure. Alex finds the kill, but around the back is Xata.
And he's actually found one rooted player. Dheylo trying to get out. There's the crush. It's going to secure it. Nice spirit ball, stunning out Kazpu, but a better wall. And the Geb's in an awkward spot. He gets tri-rooted, and Xata finds the last hit. Now turning his attention to TheAlexMC. Why Warchi locks down the Thor in the side lane, and now it's a 2-on-2. The question is, can Xata kite through these two players?
Fearless from Xata. Still trying to pick up Alex here under the towers. The root comes out from Scylla. Xata has to disengage, but Warchi is not finished yet. He's looking for the kill here. Gets off the power cleave, and the Fearless will be enough to secure it, and now he turns his attention to Samsaa, who quickly disengages with Sentinel.
Warchi has been such a nuisance.
Talk about nuisance, look at that, he's teleporting over to the duo lane now to defend this. Warchi, credit, is one of the best players in the Spanish community and very, very highly rated. You can see he's making a big impact in this game all over the map.
My question is, why did Kirko not rotate, right? He picks up the tier 1 tower, which I can understand, but that was Team Illusion's free fight. They had the man advantage because Kazpu picked off Perilla in the dual lane, and then Kirko kind of just sat in the lane. He didn't rotate when the team fight broke down. I don't know whether that was his decision or the team's decision or what, but if he had been in that fight, Illusion would have won that cleanly.
Instead, he's chose to stay in farm and continue trying to get himself towards the full build. You can see him and Chiron both working towards it. Sort of a Season 2-esque build here coming out of the Hou Yi. Meanwhile, we can see Chiron's newer version of the builds that we're seeing on Hunters these days.
Yeah, Chiron's build, I'd say, is more meta, although you typically see an ick file before the chin size and the chin size, so he's elected to leave that item out. And one of the things, though, is that if you go the ick file, the Trans Boots Aussie Ickfile build, you sell the Ickfile for Oboe at the end, and I'm assuming Perilla wants to get his completed build earlier on. He didn't really need the team or the power spike of the Ickfile, so he can, because he had a lead in his lane. There was no need to go it.
So we're pushing past mid game here, and we're heading towards late game. Where do you feel, which team has the stronger outcome as this goes on? Is that just because of Scylla, or
it's kind of the whole combo. You know, Warchi and Xata, these are going to be the frontliners zoning out the backline carries, and the question is, can either the team kill them? And I don't think either of them can, but it's just the fact that there's so much more damage on Team Illusion. They also have good lockdown and good AoE team fighting ults, right?
Ares in mid lane, trying to keep the pressure up, but gets spotted out on the rotation back. They should know now Team Illusion has a ward on that right hand side. His left hand side, once again, Kazpu is starting to make some things happen for his Hunter partner.
Which is, I think, what should have been happening earlier on, but now that it's happening late game, it's fine. And the Papis now have lost their Hunter 2 or 3 times in the past 6 to 7 minutes when he's just kind of pushed up with no ward coverage. Early on, the Papis did a fantastic job of making sure that, you know, Perilla stayed safe, but heading into this later game, you know, now that both Hunters are on even ground, they don't have that advantage of the superior Hunter.
You saw the Golf Fury there, just starting to land inside its pit once again, signaling its spawn time as Illusion. Group up in mid lane, going to take the tier 1 tower for free. Nobody here to defend from the Papis at the moment. And it looks like they're going to rotate straight towards that Golf Fury here. Keep an eye on Xata and Warchi. They will be looking to try and defend this and support their teams.
I'm looking at Samsaa. If he can find another I'm a Monster, can we actually take a... Yeah, player damage is up. Scylla, not doing a lot of poke, but about 11,000
gets
a
a
year.
good wall off, and there's chains onto Geb as well. Has to shield himself as the third chain hits. Good poke pressure onto this Geb. It's not enough to bring him down, though. But they do force him back for now. Golf Fury gets reset as Warchi makes the rotation in with Xata from the solo lane.
Immediately turns away as all 5 members of Illusion recognize that and try and put some pressure over onto the mid side. And, you know, right now, I mean, Warchi has full cooldown. He's been doing a lot in these team fights, and my eyes on him and Samsaa, and he will find Thor, but a nice chain going to cripple him out there. And it looks like Team Illusion, they just want to fight. They want to bait.
Kazpu is going up on the Thor. Where's he going to look for? Probably the Batz in this left-hand side with the Chiron. No escape is used as Chiron takes a heavy hit of damage there. Pops his ultimate defensively for the time being, but he will fall down to Xata. Fearless from Warchi, forcing away Hou Yi. Lawbringer chases on though. Warchi wants his kill, but his teammates are there to help protect Fear No Evil.
It finds one, and TheAlexMC will pick up Kirko, and now Samsaa, his ultimate's down. Almost all ultimates in the game down. Circle protection, gonna heal up Papis a little bit. Thor hammers out, and now Illusion, they're on the back foot of this, and it's Warchi just been fighting 1v3, and it just seems that Illusion can't seem to kill him.
Thor is in trouble as Isis is still trying to chase down. Meanwhile, Dheylo chasing down onto Ares as well. Blink from the Geb, trying to look for Samsaa here. That's the pick they want. Warchi continuing to chase this one down. Has he got the Fearless to continue this? Blink, Fearless, yes he does, and now Ares is the one in trouble as well as the Somersault connects to slow him down.
2 down for Illusion, about to be a 3rd as soon as Alistine falls, but I mean, just look at how tanky he is. It's only a matter of time. Thor has come back, and actually, Xata's teleported, but he's in the middle of 4 players. He needs to be careful, and this fight has not stopped.
He's looking for the pick onto Isis here as there's Thor coming back too. Good shield from Geb, just to soak a little bit of damage, but Warchi gets a good Fearless combo into a Fear No Evil, combining with Dheylo nicely, forcing Thor away, and now Xata alone. Silent, so he can't overhead kick just yet. Now he gets away with a good wall, but still, Warchi feeling himself more. He's out of mana.
Warchi has spent his entire mana bar in this one fight. He came into it full, and look at his health. Barely touched, and these extended engagements are benefiting the Papis. Illusion, they need kind of the I'm gonna burst you down right now with the Hou Yi, with the Ravana, and with the Scylla, but they're not able to do it. And these extended engagements where Tyr and Chiron both have self-heals, right? You have the shield from Geb, and honestly, TheAlexMC, that circle protection also contributing to the healing a little bit.
For 27 minutes in this game is still too close to call. Both these teams trying to get themselves through and advance in this tournament, looking to try and get through to week 3 of the relegations. At the moment, I couldn't call this either way. I mean, you feel Illusion late game, but the way the Papis are playing this.
That's the thing, too, is like, I like the comp of Illusion more in the late game, but Warchi has been so much more effective than Xata at zoning out the backline carries. You saw him just decimate Kirko and Samsaa 1 versus 2. And that's the thing, too, is this Ares player is being very aggressive, but the problem is that the Thor's being aggressive as well, and these carries have no peel. No one on Team Illusion is seeming to dedicate their resources to keeping their carries alive.
Warchi now nearly enough hitting full build, quite happy to be on the front line and go aggressive, allowing his team to do what they want in the backside here, getting a bit of focus from the team. You can see how far up he is ahead of his team here, not really that worried about it.
No, you can see he knows he can heal up, especially off those minions. And Warchi gonna poke out Xata, put him in a bad spot. But look at this, they split the team fight. Spirit Ball connected fights too. Samsaa
dead.
He's got his Sanctuary, but yeah, Dheylo finds him.
Meanwhile, Hou Yi has to disengage from the fight. Thor's going up into the sky. Xata still trying to zone out, getting very, very low with Thor in the sky. Where will he come down? Right onto Warchi's head. But the CC immunity and that shield will really help him out. Still diving in his Warchi. Fearless combo hits 2. He secures the kill on Kazpu. Ares in trouble as Xata trying to bring down Geb, who's just zoning work at the front line. And now Xata surrounded. Hou Yi has to disengage again. 4 members down. Tier 2 tower soon to fall.
0 dive for the Papis, and that's the thing, once again. No, they have 3 frontliners. They have Thor, they have Robin, and they have this Ares. But the problem is all 3 players are in the front line. None of them are protecting anyone. And now there's only 1 player left alive. This is the Papis game.
How long is it? It's going to be 17 seconds on Samsaa. Only Hou Yi left alive. The tank in the middle is going to fall down relatively soon. The minions are going to be enough to bring this down. Papis are going to advance at a very, very quick ending to this game.
I mean, back and forth, all two tier 2 towers were up for both squads, and it just ends just like that. A very clean 4-for-0 team fight, and that's what happens a lot of times in these fights, right? If you find yourself, you know, a 3-for-2, a 4-for-3, you can't end. But when you win a team fight that cleanly, that late into the game, and you have so much damage on board, you can just walk into the fight.
You can see after the Phoenix fell 17 seconds still on Samsaa, there was only a Hou Yi left standing. Wasn't enough. Illusion, though, they did look good. You like their composition? What did they do wrong?
I love their comp, and I think they just played it a little bit awkwardly. I like them trying to force some gold furies, but they seemed too committed to it, and the Papis multiple times were able to find a lot of kills, force engagements. I liked them at 30 minutes, winning team fights. I didn't like them at 15 minutes, and at the 15-minute mark is where they were trying to trade out a lot of kills, and the Papis kind of stayed with them. I think if they grinded it out a little bit more, didn't fight so much, and maybe they could have drawn it out, but also no one was protecting their carries.
Nope.
They were just left alone.
Papis advanced to the round of 8, and on top of that, they also proved Ravana can be beat in the solo lane.
Kind of.
I mean, he went even. Well, to be fair,
Warchi was like 2 or 3 levels ahead the whole
played
time.
it very, very well.
Warchi was so much more effective than Xata, honestly, at zoning out the backline carries, for sure.
Let's have a little look at the brackets here as well, just to see how the round of 8 is looking now as we look towards the quarterfinals. You can see how this one is looking.
Something to note, too, is that Epiphany Bolts actually eliminated in the round of 16. I think they made 1 roster change, bringing in Get Fisher, but, you know, they made it all the way to the finals last week. Can't make it out of round of 16 this one.
Can't make it out of the round of 16. I believe they made a jungler change, but it didn't work out very well for them whatsoever. In the end, they get defeated. Pistrus, Team Astro, no tag is free is the team that actually defeated that Epiphany Bolt team we saw last week. Envo Clan, Orcs Esports, Clan Fiesta, and the Papis. Clan Fiesta versus the Papis should be a very spicy little game down there at the bottom
Spicy.
of this bracket.
I think it'll be pretty good. Cloud Fiesta, I'm trying to remember who that is. It's definitely a lot of very...
It should be, I think it's Stactimus Prime, Angry Day QQ, Sausage, the solo lane.
It's a lot of really well-known
well-known
European ranked players, so we'll see if they can kind of do the same thing as Squirtle Squad, making it very far, or maybe even making it all the way this time.
So who have you got to get to the finals based off those?
I mean, the Papis looking pretty good. I think Clown Fiesta or the Papis, whoever makes it out of that side,
should make it to
should
finals.
make it to finals, yeah.
We'll find out how that one works out. But let's go back to this game. The Papis did very, very well to win that game out. Warchi, for me, probably was one of the MVPs.
Warchi was entirely the MVP. He was left uncontested on the back line, just locking out Scylla and Hou Yi all game. And there was nothing they could do about it.
You can see him just a couple of clips in the mid lane there. It wasn't the nicest play of Warchi's there with that Fearless, but he still managed to get himself involved in a lot of these, make some good rotations, and show his real experience in this game as he picks up Kazpu there with that Lawbringer. Yeah,
and this, I think Xata escapes, but he's able to successfully keep him off his Isis. And just a lot of clean plays from Warchi. And, you know, there's a lot of high execution things that you can do with Tier, a lot of auto attack canceling into autos, and he did a fantastic job.
When he gets to the late game stage, though, Tier very, very, very effective at keeping people off his carries or even taking the overs. But anyway, that's the end of that. Round 16 is done. We'll be moving on to the round of 8 shortly. We'll be back after this short break.